Hey everybody, I'm the Ranting Monkey, and today I have a message for the President of the United States, Barack Obama. This message to the President is brought to you by the Your Life Makes Me Sad collection. Women and guys like to see you naked, and what better way is there to bring a smile to his face than by slowly peeling off a monkey t-shirt? I'm not saying it's going to make him last longer, but it couldn't hurt. You can pick one up at the link in the description. Mr. President, in a week you'll be leaving the White House, turning the country over to a man who is mostly just a giant internet meme. I wanted to take a moment and thank you for all you've done. It's been a long 8 years. As you've reminded us for the last 7 years and 51 weeks, you inherited a country that had some problems. You've spent so much time and effort trying to fix those problems, you've avoided making any mistakes yourself. Or at least that's how I understand it from listening to you and your supporters. Everything that's gone wrong is because of those who came before you, and that's quite a heavy cross to bear. Mr. President, I don't hate you. I don't know you personally, and I don't hate out of political disagreement. But I do hate what you've done to our country and our world. I will grant that you walked into a mess. The economy was shit, we were fighting 2 wars with no real win scenario for either, and we had just elected a man whose only seeming qualification to be president was his ability to read from a teleprompter and only fuck it up once in a while. You and the Democrats swept into total power. You controlled the White House, the House of Representatives, and you had a supermajority in the Senate. You could hope and change everything. Republicans were quite literally unable to stop you. Instead of changing the many things you promised to, you forced through a healthcare scheme no one wanted. You lied to the public telling them you wanted to get healthcare to poor people who were already covered through Medicare, Medicaid, and various state insurance programs. What you really wanted was healthy people to buy insurance so their premiums would cover the cost of health care for everyone else. You knew your audience. To this day, if you mention how fucked up Obamacare is, some idiot will start rambling on about pre-existing conditions, oblivious to the fact that a law could have been passed over that issue alone without changing anything else. As Jonathan Gruber told us, you counted on the stupidity of the American voter and you weren't disappointed. Thank God for the special election that gave the Republicans in the Senate the ability to filibuster a few months into your first term. People had already begun asking, what were you doing? Blaming Bush only took you so far. You needed an excuse for being ineffective and you needed it fast. How lucky was that? It allowed you to blame the Republicans for things like shutting down the government. You actually convinced people the Republican Congress was unwilling to compromise, even though they offered 3 different funding bills and you were the one who refused to budge. Your supporters ate it up without ever questioning it. I can't talk about your presidency without talking about race relations. I should be able to, but you and your supporters have made that impossible. Even before you were elected, way back in the primaries of 2008, you allowed your surrogates to label anyone who disagreed with you a racist. We aren't talking about Republicans here. Bill fucking Clinton was charged with racism for supporting his wife over you. To be fair, you rarely played the race card yourself. You just let it happen in your name. Anytime somebody disagreed with your policies, they were branded a racist, even if they had opposed those exact same policies when they'd been proposed by white people. You allowed that narrative to exist. You have the biggest bully pulpit in the world. You could have put an end to this stupid shit. You could have said, knock it off. People can disagree without race being a factor. Instead, you set race relations back decades by allowing the myth that people just didn't want a black man in the White House to persist. Then you poured gas on the fire with stupid shit like the beer summit and saying Trayvon could have been your son. You could have been a great leader. Even if you'd passed laws that I despised, I could have still respected you. You could have shown skin color doesn't matter. You could have insisted your supporters argue on merit instead of making it about race. But taking responsibility for your actions has never been your thing. For 7 years and 51 weeks, we've heard about how Bush fucked everything up. For 7 years and 51 weeks, we've heard about how Republicans were keeping you from being able to fix things even when you and your party had complete control of the government. For 7 years and 51 weeks, we watched as you've taken credit but never accepted blame. You were as responsible for who is replacing you as anyone else. You made a lot of people want a real leader, even if the guy was kind of an asshole. Your childish inability to be responsible for your actions, or inactions, made it possible to overlook pussy grabbing and Twitter trolling. Your repeated abuse of the utter moronic shit your supporters are willing to believe and repeat is a big reason Trump will be sleeping in the bed you used to lay your head on. I don't have a lot of faith in Trump, but I had even less faith in Hillary, and your part of keeping her out of office is truly appreciated. You made President Trump. Thanks, Obama. I wish you all the best in civilian life. That's going to wrap up this one. Don't forget to hit the Ranting Monkey store to pick up your Life Makes Me Sad merchandise. If you enjoyed this, please show your support by sharing it. While there's just about 90 videos you can see here, this is actually my 100th upload to YouTube. Thank you for tuning in to see the silly shit I say. I have a lot of fun doing this, but your support is what keeps me going. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. I'm the Ranting Monkey, and I will see you next time.
And the one thing I can promise you is if we turn against each other based on divisions of race or religion, if we fall for, a bunch of okey doke, just because it sounds funny or the tweets are provocative.
Your life makes me sad.